I ask myself, if I don't get this thing, will I still be okay? If the idea of me not getting what I want triggers powerful or strong emotions, then I know that I'm using that thing to look for answers outside of myself and feel whole.
I love that so much. And that's my buddy Lauren. If you're not following her, please do go watch that whole video. Also, we're going live tomorrow night together to talk about this kind of stuff. So I've set a reminder up. So this question has been critical to all the major decisions in my life. Now, from apartments to immigration, like, why do I want to go to France? Do I need to go to France because I'm running from something? Or do I just really want to go there and I'm going to work hard to get that visa? I mean, I also have passport privilege, white privilege, middle class privilege, all these other privileges, right? Able bodied. But I'm going to do all the work. It's a lot of work to get to be able to immigrate there. But if I can't, am I going to be okay? Because if I'm not going to be okay, if I'm going to be devastated, maybe there's something I need to work on before I move across an ocean and change the entire trajectory of my life and have to learn a new language, a new culture, make all new friends, and like start over. That's a big decision, right? But a lot of us make huge decisions based on this like over there mentality, or like I can't stand this mentality, or like future faking with a country or an apartment or a man or a friend, or like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, we're going to be, I'm going to go, That's why all these people are moving to France and like, we'll think they're going to get Emily in Paris. And then they're like, I hate it here. This ain't Emily in Paris. But I want to talk about the other ways this plays out, because this can be life threatening, y'all. And just hear me out. Hear this story. Okay. I wrote a book proposal that, oh my God, what is in my hair? Sorry, hold on. God, I wrote a book proposal. I had a literary agent, right? I'd finally gotten a literary agent. I was so excited about that. I let this predatory man convince me to hire him to help me write this book proposal. This was an old creepy man, and it didn't have enough healing yet to understand that this man was preying on me and he was exploiting my trauma responses, until I found out that he'd done that to other women. Thank God, women talk. But I basically, I'm still paying off that debt. I spent $10,000 hiring this man to help me with the book proposal, and I put all my hopes on that. I left New York. I mean, I was kind of ready to leave New York, and I figured I'd move to LA, but I uprooted my whole life and moved back to New Mexico, which is a place I love, to, to write my book. I was so sure I would write this, that I'd be able to write this book, because I had Elizabeth Gilbert blurbing it among other people, Abby Jacobson, Alana Glazer. I had all these people who really believed in my stuff. I was like, okay, surely I'll sell this book. Nope. And because I had put all those eggs in that one basket and lived on this like golden ticket mentality, like I'm Charlie in the chocolate factory, that I'm just this is it, all this work, it's finally gonna pay. I'm finally gonna be able to write the book. When that didn't happen, I was then now living in New Mexico. All my friends had babies, so they were totally unavailable, right? Because when you're in your 30s and you're single and child-free, it's hard to make friends. I was waiting tables at a pizza place. I was living in a trailer with no heat, no running water, no toilet, because I was waiting. I figured I'd get that book advance. You know what I mean? I uprooted my life on believing that this thing was going to happen. It must happen. I had no backup plan. And then when it didn't happen, guess who got easily manipulated into dating a man who almost unalived me? Now, I'm not saying that A caused B, but what I am saying is I was all of a sudden now, I left New York. I'd been pursuing my comedy dreams. I'd worked in the film industry. I was making good money. I finally went from being a PA to being, prop set dressing, making really good money finally for me, right? Because before that, I lived in my truck for years and couldn't afford rent, right? And now I'm back into living a trailer. This thing that my friend had in his backyard that he let me live in, that's covered in snow. Again, no bathroom. The snow was my refrigerator, which was a terrible idea because everything froze, right? This is how cold it was, y'all. I took this photo because I wanted to remind myself of how nuts I was. So then I had no money, and now I'm stuck in New Mexico with no friends, really, because they don't have time for me because they all have babies. I'm back to waiting tables again after pursuing my dreams in New York. And I have no way to get to LA because I don't have savings. I have nothing. I can't move to LA. So when this man appeared in my life, who gave me my first real O in my life at the age of 36 and helped me fixate on something other than my disappointment in myself, my feelings of being a failure, my like having all this time, but to do what? I didn't have this project that I was going to work on. All of my energy then just got redirected to this dude who was a big old distraction, a deadly distraction. And of course, during that whole time, I did a few one-woman shows on material that I've already done before. I didn't write a single thing, not a single thing. I was in New Mexico for like 10 months or so. Didn't write the whole time I was there because everything was hinging on selling that book. Now, I don't regret any of my decisions, as dumb as some of them were, because I have to learn everything the hard way. Like most people. It drives my parents crazy. They're like, can you learn anything? Not the most extreme, ridiculous way? No, apparently not. I love my life. I love where I'm at. I love all my mistakes too, because they forced me to look at things and change. But that was a big lesson. Never focus so much on this one thing needing to happen, because A, if it doesn't happen, you're screwed. But more importantly, you probably have a lot of delusion about the thing. So many women, are so hell-bent on having a baby before 40 or 45, which, by the way, they lied to us about our fertility, right? You can have babies way longer than they tell us, but they have scared us into have to do this by this age. So they settle for men who are trash, who make terrible fathers, and who ruin their life because they just had to have a baby. You're going to have that baby, prepare to be a single mom and do it on your own. But don't hyper focus on this man. He's the one, when he's not the one. You just have some more healing to do. You have some more deconstructing patriarchy, white supremacy, capitalism culture that has convinced you that you have to do this thing in order to be whole. You can't make good decisions, sound decisions that are in your best interest when you're desperately chasing after something, because you will sell yourself short at every turn to make sure that thing happens. You will trick yourself into things that you would never settle for in order to make that thing happen. You will put yourself in a vulnerable position to be prey to people who are going to exploit that obsession, which is oftentimes covering for unhealed trauma. So many climbers die because they just have to get to the top of that climb. When if they would just go to therapy and heal the fact that their dads didn't love them, maybe they wouldn't need to prove themselves so much. We all do it on some level. We're told to do that, raised under these systems, but especially if you have abuse in your background, if you have unhealed trauma that you don't even know about sometimes, anytime I find myself really needing something, I pause and I don't trust that instinct, because anytime I feel that intensely about anything, it's probably a trauma response. It's not what my intuition wants for me. And my intuition always has my best interest in mind. I'm not being like The Secret. I don't believe in any of that stuff, right? So please don't think that I'm being like, just attraction and ignore systems of oppression, like trauma and all that stuff. That's not my message. My message here, one of the things that I hope through my content that I do, and especially for women, but anybody, is to stop believing these ideas and these wants and needs that are in us. Stop believing that, just taking those at face value. Start questioning them. Where is this coming from? Why do I want this so bad? Why do I like this man so much? Why do I need to get married? I mean, if you really want to see an example of that, watch The Ultimatum on Netflix. Holy crap. These women will accept anything just to get the ring. Fork the ring. Find yourself. Love yourself. Heal your trauma. That is how you will really come into your own and live a genuine life based on following your gut, your intuition, instead of literally just bouncing around like a ping pong. No, not ping pong. Whatever that machine is, you know what I mean? Ball thing, bouncing around from one thing, one trauma response, that trauma response. Now I need this, now I need that. Because that's how you get yourself in danger and even unalive. Or at the very least, miserable and not knowing why and feeling dead inside.